Hello friends, we are studying chapter number 15, Biodiversity and its Conservation, and we are in the last stage of this chapter. And today we are going to learn about the different type of conservations and mainly in situ as well as ex situ conservations. Okay, so in last video lecture we had talked about the only one paragraph of the how do we conserve biodiversity, means some information or some definitions of the different type of approaches for the conservation, and we had also studied about the topic why should we conserve biodiversity, and in that particular topic there were three different types of arguments. The first argument was about the narrowly utilitarian, second one was about the broadly utilitarian, and third one was about the some type of ethical issues, means ethical arguments. Okay, so in this video lecture we are going to revise this first paragraph, then we will talk about the in situ and ex situ conservation, and we will also talk about the summary, because some important sentences, some important informations and some important MCQs are there in summaries. Okay, so for this all we will use the same method of easy language notes. So first of all we are going to revise this. How do we conserve biodiversity? See, first point, you know that when we conserve and protect the whole ecosystem, its biodiversity at all levels will be automatically protected. And you know the example, if we want to protect the fish of pond ecosystem, then we must conserve the pond. Okay, if you want to conserve any particular species of a forest, then you have to conserve the whole entire forest, because it is one type of ecosystem. Now see, point number 2, you know that there are two different type of approaches. First one is in situ and second one is known as the ex situ. So two types of approaches for the conservations are there. Again, both names are very important. First one is in situ conservation and second one is ex situ type of conservation. See, first point, we can say that in situ means on site. Okay, for example, we save the entire forest to save the tiger. And point number 2, ex situ conservation means off-site. Some conditions are there. First one, when there are situations where an animal or plant is endangered or threatened, then organisms facing a very high risk of extinction in the wild in the near future. And last one is needs urgent measure to save it from the extinction. Okay, so these all are the some information about the how do we conserve biodiversity. You know that different type of national parks and sanctuaries are connected with in situ type of conservation, while different types of zoological garden, means zoological park as well as botanical garden, are connected with the ex situ conservation. And you can see this paragraph, we will revise this paragraph also. When we conserve and protect the whole ecosystem, its biodiversity at all level is protected. We save the entire forest to save the tiger. This approach is called in situ, means on-site conservation. However, when there are situations where an animal or plant is endangered or threatened, means organism facing a very high risk of extinction in the wild in the near future and needs urgent measure to save it from extinction, known as ex situ off-site conservation, which is desirable approach for this particular conditions. And now we will talk about the next topic, which is the very important, and the name of topic is in situ conservation. Okay, see, before starting this topic, I like to say that we will divide this topic into two different parts. Okay, so it's because of these two different parts, it's really easy to understand. So if we talk about the part 1 of in situ type of conservation, see, first point, so many nations and so many countries are facing one type of conflict means one type of problem between development and conservation. Means you know that in this world so many different type of nations, means so many different type of countries are there, but there is a one problem, means there is a one conflict between what and what, between development and conservation. See, development is also important. You know that the all country want that increasing GDP, all country want to develop. Okay, so development is necessary for each and every country, but what about conservation? You know that conservation is also very much important according to the biodiversity, according to scientific view. So first point again, so many nations, countries are facing one type of problem, one type of conflict between what and what, between development and conservation. Point number 2, but many countries, many nations find it unrealistic and economically not feasible, okay, but to conserve all their biological wealth. So all countries are not giving priority to the biological conservation, because you know that the development is much important, development is more important compared to the conservation. So we can say that countries are giving importance to their development but not giving importance to their biological conservation. Again we will revise these 2 points. First point, see, remember point number 1 and point number 2 both are interconnected with each other. Point number 1, so many nations, so many countries are facing one type of conflict between development and conservation, but many nations, countries find it unrealistic and economically not feasible to conserve all their biological wealth. Okay, this concept is completed. Point number 3, invariably the number of species waiting to be saved from extinction. See, the number of species waiting to be saved, so species are waiting to be saved from what, from the extinction, far exceed the conservation resources available. It means if we try to save these all species from their extinction, but we don't have enough resources, okay, so if we will use the all available resources, see, listen again, if we use all available resources what we have, then we are not capable to save all species from the extinction. Now see, point number 4, we can say that problem has been addressed, means said or proposed by eminent, means best conservationist on a global basis. Global basis means what? Global basis means at international level. So in first page there are main 4 points are there. Again we are going to revise all 4 points. First point, we can say that so many nations, so many countries are facing one type of conflict between development and conservation. So development is very important compared to conservation. See, point number 2, but many nations find it unrealistic and economically not suitable to conserve all their biological wealth. Point number 3, we can say that if we use the all resources to save the species from their extinction, then we are not able to save it at all, okay. Point number 4, it is one type of worldwide issue, it is one type of international issue, okay. Now see, so first page is completed. Now we are going to the second page. So point number 5 is very important for this question, okay. See, now point number 5, according to eminent conservationist, identified for maximum protection certain biodiversity hotspots region. See, what identified for what? For the maximum protection, means we are giving maximum protection to what? To the biodiversity hotspot regions. So now we have a new name, new word, which is biodiversity hotspot, okay. Underline it, biodiversity hotspot region, with what? With very high level of species richness and a high degree of endemism. So we have new word, endemism. We will talk about it later, endemism. So forget it, and for now. But see, if we revise this, see again, biodiversity hotspot. Okay, biodiversity hotspot is what? It is one type of place, or it is one type of region with what? With two things. First thing is very high level of species richness, means very high species biodiversity, and point number two, high degree of what? High degree of endemism. So if any region or any place having high level of species richness and high degree of endemism, then it is known as biodiversity hotspot region, and this region must be protected maximum. Okay, so maximum protection of biodiversity hotspot region is must. Okay, so again, point number 5, we can say that according to some people, for maximum protection of certain what? Underline biodiversity hotspot regions with what? With first one, very high level of species richness, second one is high degree of endemism. Okay, now what is endemism? It is one type of, that is, species confined to that region and not found anywhere else. For example, we can say, if we talk about the Asiatic lion, so you know that the Asiatic lions are only found in Gujarat, means in the forest of Gir. So Asiatic lion is one type of endemic species. Okay, it is one type of endemism for a particular Gir ecosystem. So point number 5 is very important according to this chapter, according to this concept. You will remember what? You will remember some key points. Again, key points, keywords are what? Keywords are the biodiversity hotspot having what and what? Having first one is high level of species richness, and point number 2, high degree of endemism. Okay, and now if we talk about the definition of endemism, it is species confined or found to that particular region and not found anywhere else. Now point number 6, if we talk about the number of hotspot, okay, in the entire world. So initially, means at starting phase, total 25 hotspots were identified. So underline 25 hotspots were identified initially. Point number 2, then after some time 9 hotspots were added. So see again, initially 25 hotspots were there and 9 hotspots were added. So now total 34 hotspots are there. So 3 MCQs are there. Initially or at starting point or at starting phase, total 25 hotspots were there. Then number of added hotspots are 9, and now current number is 34. So you will remember this like 25 plus 9 is equal to 34. 25 initial number, 9 added number, and 34 is the current new total number. These hotspots are also regions of accelerated habitat loss. Okay, so you will also remember this. So point number 6 about the number of hotspots. Now point number 7, if we talk about the some examples of hotspot, so we have total 3 names, and these 3 are the hotspots. So first one, or the first name is Western Ghats and Sri Lanka. See, it is one type of hotspot. Second one is Indo-Burma. Third one is Himalayan region. So these 3 are one type of hotspot, and these 3 cover our country's exceptionally high biodiversity region. So maximum diversity of our India will be covered in these 3 hotspots. Okay, so this page is also very much important. Again, we are going to revise this page. Page number 2, point number 5, we can say that here the new concept is there. Concept is about the biodiversity hotspot. Okay, hotspot having what and what? Hotspot having high level of species richness and high degree of endemism. Point number 6, initially 25 hotspots were there, then 9 were added, and now total 34 hotspots are there. And what about the 3 names of hotspots? First one is Western Ghat, second and Sri Lanka, second one is Indo-Burma, third one is Himalayan region. So page number 2 is also completed. Now see page number 3, point number 8. Although all the biodiversity hotspot put together cover less than 2% of the Earth's land area. It means if you are adding land of all 34 biodiversity or the biologically important hotspot, then it is less than 2%. Okay, so hotspot covering only 2% of the Earth's land area. So 2% is one type of MCQ. Underline this. The number of species they collectively harbor is extremely high, and strict protection of this hotspot and reduce, underline, and reduce the ongoing mass extinction by almost 30%. So we can say that with the help of or with the formation of hotspot, mass extinction is going to decreases almost up to 30%. So two MCQs are there in this page. First MCQ is 2% and second MCQ is 30%. So part 1 of this question in situ conservation is completed here, and now you are seeing the textbook on your screen, and we will read the part number 1, means first paragraph of this topic. See, in situ conservation, faced with the conflict between, underline, development and conservation, many nations find it, underline, unrealistic and economically not feasible to conserve all their biological wealth. Next one, invariably the number of species waiting to be saved from extinction far exceed the conservation resources available. Means if we use the all available resources to conserve species, then we are not doing it well. Now see, next one, on a global basis, this problem has been addressed by eminent conservationists, and according to them, they identify for maximum protection of certain biodiversity hotspots. So again, underline, new name is there, biodiversity hotspot, very important concept. It is one type of region with very high level of species richness and high degree of endemism. Okay, what is meaning of endemism? It is species which is found to this particular region and not found anywhere else. Okay, if we talk about the numbers, then initially 25 biodiversity hotspots were identified, but subsequently 9 more have been added to the list, bringing the total number of biodiversity hotspots in the world to 34. So at initial level 25 plus 9 added is equal to nowadays 34. So you will remember this formula, 25 plus 9 is equal to 34. These hotspots are also region of the accelerated habitat loss. 3 of these hotspots are, first one is Western Ghats and Sri Lanka, second one is Indo-Burma and Himalayan, third one is Himalayan. Okay, cover India's exceptionally high biodiversity regions. Although all the biodiversity hotspots put together cover less than 2% of the Earth's land area, the number of species they collectively harbor is extremely higher, and strict protection of this hotspot could reduce the ongoing mass extinction by almost 30%. It means with the help of this all hotspot, we can stop or we can decrease the current mass extinction up to 30%. So it is the one type of benefit of hotspot. You will remember what is the most important benefit of hotspot. You can say that with the help of hotspot, 30% of mass extinction will be stopped. Okay, and you will also remember this, only 2% of Earth's land area will be covered by this all 34 hotspot. Again, the formula is what? Formula is 25 plus 9 is equal to 34. So part number 1 of this question is completed. Now we will talk about the part number 2 if this same question. In India, see, first point, in India, ecologically unique and biodiversity rich regions are legally protected. In India, what and what? First word is ecologically unique, means having the different type of species, having the different type of ecosystem, ecologically unique, and biodiversity rich regions are legally protected by government. As first name is biosphere reserve, second one is national parks, and third one is sanctuaries. So you will remember these three names. First one is biosphere reservoirs, second one is national parks, and third one is sanctuaries. Remember this, these all three names are connected with InSitu conservation. You will remember this: biosphere reservoirs, national parks, and sanctuaries. These all three names are connected with what? These all three names are connected with InSitu conservation. Point number 2, we can say that India now having 14 biosphere reservoirs, underline MCQ, 90 national parks, and more than 448 wildlife sanctuaries. So you have 3 MCQs: 14, 90, 448. 14 biosphere reservoirs area, 90 national parks, and 448 wildlife sanctuaries. If we talk about our state Gujarat, you know that Gujarat having total how many national parks and sanctuary? You can say that Gujarat having main 4 national park, like Gir National Park, then you can say Marine National Park, then you can say Vasda National Park of Navsari, then you can say that Vedavadar National Park of Bhavnagar. Okay. Now see, next one is what? Point number 3. India has also a history of religious and cultural traditionals that emphasizes the protection of nature. It means if we talk about the, or according to view of our religious thing or the cultural thing, then it is said that conservation or the protection of nature is in our culture. Point number 4, see, in many cultures, some examples are there. In many culture, tract of forest were set aside. Means tract means a part, some portion, some part of forest will be taken. All the trees and wildlife within were venerated and given total protection. Okay, so the wildlife as well as some type of trees found in forest will be protected by the local peoples. Now very important concept is that, see, point number 5, we have a new name, and this name is known as what? It is known as sacred groves. So now we are going to talk about the sacred groves. So some examples of sacred groves are there found in India. First one is in Meghalaya state, Khasi and Jayantiya hills. See, these all are MCQ, and it is possible to ask in the match A and B. The name of state and the name of sacred groves. First one is state, name of state Meghalaya. In Meghalaya, name of sacred groves Khasi and Jayantiya hills. Second state Rajasthan, Arvali hills. Third one is in Karnataka and Maharashtra state, Western Ghats region. And last one is about the name of state will be Madhya Pradesh, Saraja, Chanda as well as Bastar area. So you will remember all 4 states: Meghalaya, Rajasthan, Karnataka and Maharashtra as well as Madhya Pradesh. Okay, and as well as names of these all hills, means sacred groves. Now see, last point, in Meghalaya, the sacred groves are the last refuge for a large number of rare and threatened plant species. Okay, so we can say that Meghalaya having the different type of plants which are very rare and now in the threatened category. Okay, so it is very important thing. So you will remember this all. Now see, we will revise this page. First means third point, India having what? History of religious and cultural traditionals. Okay, to protect nature. In many cultures we will take a part for forest and we will protect the trees and wildlife. Then in point number 5, the name of state with some example: Meghalaya, Khasi and Jayantiya hills, Rajasthan, Arvali hills. Then Western Ghats found in Karnataka as well as Maharashtra. Then some names are that Sarguja, Chanda and Bastar areas found in Madhya Pradesh. And last point, we can say that in Meghalaya, the sacred groves are the last refuge for a large number of the rare and threatened plant species. Okay, so part number 2 of this question is also completed, and now we will read this from your textbook. See, you can say that in India, ecologically unique and biodiversity rich regions are legally protected by government as what? Underline. First name is biosphere reserves. Second one is national parks. Third one is sanctuaries. India now has underlined 14 biosphere reserves, 90 national parks and 448 wildlife sanctuaries. India has also a history of religious and cultural traditional that emphasized protection of nature. In so many cultures, tracts means part of forests were set aside and all the trees and wildlife within were venerated and given total protection. Such sacred groves are found in underline Khasi and Jayantiya hills found in Meghalaya, underline the word Meghalaya, Arvali hills of Rajasthan, underline the word Rajasthan, Western Ghat regions of Karnataka and Maharashtra, and the Sarguja, Chanda and Bastar region, Bastar area of Madhya Pradesh. Last sentence very important. In Meghalaya, the sacred groves are the last refuge for a large number of rare and threatened plants. So thus two parts of in situ conservation is completed, and now we will talk about the last topic of this chapter, which is about the Exo Situ Conservation. See, it is also important question. You know that the one question of 3 mark will be asked from this chapter. So in situ conservation is also important, as well as ex situ conservation is also important. Okay, so title is Ex Situ Conservation. Again, like in situ conservation, we will divide this question into two different parts. So now we are going with the part number 1 of ex situ, means off-site conservation. First point, see, in this approach means in this type of conservation. Which type? In ex situ type of conservation, treated animals and plants, underline treated animals and plants, first point, are taken out from their natural habitat. So first thing will be taken out from their natural habitat. Second one, and placed in a special setting, means placed in a special type of area where they can be protected and given special type of care. So you will remember these three all points in ex situ, means off-site conservation. What and what? Treated animals and plants are taken out from their natural habitat and placed in a special type of area where they can be protected and given special type of care. Point number 2, we can say that some names are there. First one is zoological parks, second one is botanical gardens, and third one is wildlife safari parks. This serve as the purpose of ex situ conservation. See, remember, the names like national park, sanctuary and the biological reservoirs are connected with in situ conservation, while the names like zoological parks, botanical gardens and wildlife safari parks are connected with what? Are connected with ex situ conservation. Okay, so these all are forms, means zoological park, botanical gardens and wildlife safari parks are formed because of the ex situ conservation, because some treated animals or plant species will be taken from their natural habitat and will be placed into either zoological park if animal, or botanical garden if plant, and or in the wildlife safari parks. Now see, point number 3, we can say that there are many animals that have become extinct in the wild, means in forest, but continue to be maintained in zoological parks. So many examples are there, so many animals are there that have become extinct in the wild area, but they are surviving in the cage in the zoological park. Point number 4, in recent years, ex situ conservation has advanced beyond keeping threatened species in the resources. Means we can do this type of conservation, we can do ex situ type of conservation before species will go in the threatened category. So we can say that here total 4 points are there in first page. We will revise this all. See again, first one is what? First one is about the what are the approaches of the ex situ conservation. In this approach, treated animals and plants are taken out from their natural habitat and placed in a special area where they can be protected and given special treatment or care. So for the ex situ conservation, formation of zoological parks, botanical gardens and wildlife safari parks will be completed or done. Point number 3, you can say that many animals have become extinct in the wild but are surviving in the zoological gardens, means zoological parks. And in recent years, ex situ conservation has advanced, beyond keeping threatened species in the natural resources. So the first page is completed and now we will go to the next page. So now see page number 2. Point number 5 is very important. With the help of method cryopreservation. So now we have a new name and this name is the cryopreservation. What is the meaning of cryopreservation? In this method, gametes of threatened species can be preserved. What will be preserved? Gametes. You know that the male gametes as well as female gamete. Male gamete is equal to sperm and female gamete is equal to ova. And you know that the gametes having what? Gametes having the all genetic material as well as gametes having the half number of chromosomes. So gametes of what? Gametes of treated species can be preserved at minus 196 degrees centigrade temperature in viable and fertile condition for a unlimited time, means for a long period. So maximum MCQs are there. Name of method cryopreservation. What will be conserved? What will be preserved? Gametes of which species? Of threatened species. At which temperature? At minus 196 degrees centigrade. In which form? In viable, means living, and fertile condition for unlimited time period. So nowadays we have some methods like cryopreservation too. Now see point number 6. Some examples are there. Eggs can be fertile in vitro. You know that the IVFs are there. In human test tube babies are there. IVF is equal to in vitro fertilization. So eggs can be fertilized in vitro. Plants can be propagated by the tissue culture. So with the help of tissue culture, plant propagation is possible nowadays. So in point number 6, 2 examples are there. First example, eggs can be fertilized in vitro and plant propagation is possible with the help of tissue culture method. Point number 7, we can say that now there is a new concept of the seed banks. You know that seed banks having the certified seeds. So seeds of different genetic strains of commercially important plants can be kept for long period in seed bank. So you can keep the seed of the economical or commercial important plants in seed bank, and you know that the seed banks are providing certified seeds also. So this page is very much important because 3 main points are there. Again see point number 5, we can say that there is a one method known as the cryopreservation. With the help of this method cryopreservation, we can preserve what? Gametes of threatened species at minus 196 degree temperature in viable, means living, and fertile condition for a long time. Point number 6, eggs can be fertilized in vitro and plant propagation is possible by tissue culture. Underline this both. Point number 7 is about the seed bank. We can keep the seed of the commercially important plants. So first part or the first portion is completed here of ex situ conservation, and now we will go with your textbook. Ex situ conservation. See first point. In this approach, treated animals and plants are taken out from their natural habitat and placed in special setting, means special place like cage, where they can be protected and given special care. Zoological parks, botanical gardens and wildlife safari parks. Remember, zoological parks, botanical gardens and wildlife safari parks are connected with Exo Situ Conservation. See next sentence. There are many animals that have become extinct in the wild but continue to be maintained in zoological parks. In recent years, ex situ conservation had advanced beyond keeping threatened species in enclosures. Okay, now see, gamete of treated species can be preserved in viable and fertile condition for long periods using cryopreservation technique. So you will write -196 degree centigrade temperature cryopreservation for gametes. You will add this if it is not included in your textbook. Eggs can be fertilized in vitro. Underline MCQ. Plant propagation is possible with the help of tissue culture method. Okay, and seed of the different genetic strains of commercially important plants can be kept for long period in seed bank. So first part or the first concept is completed. Now we will talk about the second part. There is no political boundaries for biodiversity conservation. It means there is no entry of BJP as well as there is no entry of Congress. Okay, so it is not a one type of political issue, but we can say that it is one type of international issue. So there is no political approach in this biodiversity conservation. Its conservation is a collective responsibility of the all nations. Okay, so it is not a responsibility of only one nation like India is doing that and America is not doing that. No, but it is one type of collective responsibility of the all nations of this world. Now see, point number 3, very important. There is a 1 year in the year of 1992. Underline 1992 historic convention on biological diversity was occurred and name was the Earth Summit, held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. So according to this Earth Summit, all nations to take appropriate measure for conservation of biodiversity and sustainable utilization of its benefits. Okay, again see, in which year? In the year of 1992. One historic convention on biological diversity happened and the name of convention is Earth Summit. So underline MCQ is there, Earth Summit. Okay, place would be Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and it is said in this summit all nations to take what? Appropriate measure. For what? For conservation of biodiversity. So conservation of biodiversity is one thing, and second one is what? And sustainable utilization means use of its benefits. Okay, so you will remember the key points. 1992 historic convention on biological diversity and the name of convention is Earth Summit. Okay, held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Okay, now see, point number 4 and last point of this chapter. In the year of 2002, means first summit was organized in 1992. So after 10 years of 1992, in the year of 2002, World Summit was occurred. So see, 1992 Earth Summit was there. Here the name is World Summit. It is one type of follow-up summit of the Earth Summit held at Johannesburg, South Africa. See, location of World Summit is Johannesburg, South Africa, while location of Earth Summit was what? Was the Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. See, 190 countries pledged their commitment to achieve by 2010 a significant decreases in the current rate of biodiversity loss at global, regional and local levels. Okay, so this is all about the summit which is known as World Summit. Again, the important MCQs are there. 2002 World Summit. World Summit is one type of follow-up of Earth Summit. Location Johannesburg, South Africa. 190 countries. Okay, and here will and their commitment to the achieve by year 2010 underlined. So these are the MCQ. A significant reduction in the current rate of biodiversity loss at 3 levels. Remember this. First one is global, second one is regional, third one is local levels. So part number 2 is also completed, and now we will learn part number 2 from the textbook. See, biodiversity knows no political boundaries and its conservation is therefore a collectively responsibility of all nations. The historic convention on biological diversity known as the Earth Summit underline held in Rio de Janeiro in 1992 called upon all nations to take appropriate measure for conservation of biodiversity and sustainable utilization, means use of its benefits. In a follow-up, the World Summit on Sustainable Development held in 2002 in Johannesburg, South Africa, 190 countries pledged their commitment to achieve by 2010 a significant decreases in the current rate of biodiversity loss at global, regional and local levels. So underline these three words: global, regional and the local levels. So this question of ex situ conservation is completed here, and now you will read the summary of this chapter. But see, some important points are underlined in the summary, and the important thing is that these all are one type of MCQ. Okay, now see, 3.8 billion years ago MCQ. Then the biodiversity refers to the sum total of diversity that exists at all level of biological organization. It is also one type of definition. Then see, 1.5 million species, 6 million species, these all are one type of MCQ. Then see, 70% insect, fungi, for 45,000 species, 12 mega diversity countries, these all are one type of MCQ. Okay, then you can say that species diversity on earth is not uniformly distributed but shows interesting patterns. It is generally highest in tropics and decreases towards the poles. It is also one type of MCQ. Now see, the rate of mass extinction is now 100 to 1000 times higher. Underline, nearly 700 species have become extinct in recent times, and more than 15,500 species, of which 650 from India. Underline, it is not included in your textbook. 650 from India currently face the threat of extinction, and you know the evil quadrants are there: loss of habitat and fragmentation, over exploitation, biological invasions and co-extinctions. And now at last we can say that about the biodiversity hotspots, total 34, and the formula is 25 plus 9 is equal to 34. Initially 25, then 9 were added, and nowadays total 34, and 3 are there: Western Ghats and Sri Lanka, Himalayan region and Indo-Burma. 14 biosphere reserves, 90 national parks, 450 wildlife sanctuaries. Okay, as well as many sacred groves found in different states. Then if we talk about the ex situ conservation, connected with the zoological parks, botanical gardens, in vitro fertilization, you know, the tissue culture, plant propagation, and last one was about the method of cryopreservation. So thus we can say that this chapter is completed. Remember, the one question of 3 mark will be asked from this chapter. So in situ and ex situ conservation, these both questions are very much important according to view of theory, and maximum MCQs are also there, and you will try to write the answers of the question given in exercise. There it is very easy, and you will also try to solve the MCQ of this chapter. So this chapter is officially completed here. Thank you very much.